Next at 6, the Orange County woman accused of her husband's murder is found guilty on a different charge. Her sentence after waiting years in jail.
Then, with mass shootings in mind, what local law enforcement and government officials plan to do to prevent these type of attacks.
And a new report on housing affordability sheds light on a problem that's becoming more and more common in Florida.
Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
After 3 years, a Winter Park woman who admits she stabbed her husband to death finally learns her fate.
WESH 2's Kennedy Mason is at the courthouse today with more on Danielle Redlick's sentencing.
The Winter Park woman accused of murdering her stepfather turned husband will serve no time in jail. 48-year-old Michael Redlick was found dead in their home back in 2019. Cleaning supplies and a bucket of bloody water sat in the hallway. Danielle Redlick was convicted of tampering with evidence in June, but she was acquitted of his murder. She'll spend a year on probation and get mandatory mental health treatment. At the trial, attorney Cheney Mason read a letter that Michael's 15-year-old daughter wrote.
All I want is justice for my father. It breaks my heart into a million pieces over and over to hear people side with such an abusive, horrible person and then continue to bash on a dead man who isn't here to defend himself.
Redlick has already been in jail for 3 years while awaiting trial. In Orange County, Kennedy Mason, WESH 2 News.
And after showers earlier this evening, it looks pretty dry out tonight. Meteorologist Cam Tran is with us now.
So Cam, what can we expect for tonight and into tomorrow?
Very quiet evening. So if you want to go for an evening walk or jog, you're looking at some pretty nice weather. Here's a look at our first warning radar. We had showers and thunderstorms across our area this afternoon, but you see it is bone dry out this evening. So again, if you have any dinner plans, you're in great shape weather-wise. Right now, still pretty warm though at 84 degrees in the city. Beautiful. Currently 86 in the Villages, 85 right now in Sanford. Taking a look at your 12-hour forecast, skies will clear in the overnight hours, and we are looking at overnight lows dropping down into the mid-70s. Tomorrow will be a summer scorcher with high temperatures for inland spots climbing into the mid-90s out tomorrow. In the coastal areas, upper 80s to low 90s, and we are expecting a very isolated shower or thunderstorm possible tomorrow afternoon, but rain coverage tomorrow is fairly low. I'm only looking at about a 30% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, and winds will be coming out of the southeast about 5 to 15 miles per hour. I'll track out hour by hour when we are expecting that isolated shower or thunderstorm coming up next time I see you in about 10 minutes.
After weeks of listening to the details of the Parkland school shooting, jurors now take their closest look yet. Today, those jurors retrace the killer's footsteps in a silent walkthrough of the high school. The crime scenes have been preserved since February 14th of 2018, the day of the shooting that claimed 17 lives. A team of journalists were chosen to go with the jury.
Everything is kind of frozen where it happens. Laptops are left open, assignments are just sitting there, never to be looked at again.
The jurors will return to court on August 22nd, which gives them a little bit of time to process what they saw.
The Volusia County Sheriff's Office is training to make sure a tragedy like Parkland never happens in Volusia County schools. We have an inside look at their active shooter drills. WESH 2's Thomas Ouellette reports what you're about to see is very intense.
Every officer hopes they never get, and a tragedy that every police station trains to prevent. The horrific events of the Uvalde Elementary School shooting are still fresh in everyone's hearts, as well as public outcry for the controversial actions of the on-site police officers. The Volusia County Sheriff's Department seeks to show the public that they handle active shootings differently, and that their officers don't wait for anything. Volusia County Police Captain Brian Bosco allowed us to join his officers as they went through the most realistic training possible.
They've got one more hour of their shift. They're coming in. We're going to give them a call over the radio, letting them know that there's an active shooter at the school. They're going to start hearing screaming. We have some role players that are supposed to be students. They'll come running down the hall screaming for help. They're going to hear some blanks from a shotgun.
Some departments advise waiting for support, while Volusia County trains their deputies to do anything but.
You should see the deputies run directly towards the shooter.
When questioned about Uvalde, Captain Bosco said that the hyper-realistic training is a direct response to the horrific event.
We needed to up our game. We needed to bring it as realistic as possible, especially with the recent events that have happened throughout the country.
So is this a direct result?
Yes, it is.
Of Uvalde?
Yes, it is.
The deputies being trained this morning have no idea what's in store for them.
Together, they think they're coming here to just search rooms.
In a hauntingly accurate simulation of the event, the officers are judged on their ability to compose themselves and sweep the building effectively. All of the simulations started out as simple search and rescue, but through live fire and screaming children, the training officers were forced to use every bit of their knowledge to find the threat and take it out. Members of the police department even dressed as a masked shooter to heighten the immersion. The officers know they are in a training scenario, but when the speakers play the sound of children and the shots are fired, the veil between training and reality fades away. In seconds, the officers are down the hall and the shooter is taken down. All factors of the training come together to provide the closest thing to first-hand experience possible, and in hand with the Sheriff Department's other forms of training ultimately result in an officer who is ready for anything.
Look for students.
In Volusia County, Thomas Olette for West 2 News.
A shooting last month in downtown Orlando wounded 7 people and also left many others feeling unsafe.
To prevent this sort of violence from happening again, the city is now introducing new safety measures.
Mayor Buddy Dyer says the city will add 6 metal detector checkpoints. This comes after a fight ended in shots fired on July 31st. The incident has some visitors hesitant to go downtown, even with this new security.
I don't want to be hurt, but 7 people getting shot.
The checkpoints will surround the heart of the downtown entertainment district. Right now, the national housing market is in a crisis, and Florida is no exception.
West 2's Kennedy Mason spoke with a family in Longwood that knows the struggles of trying to make a home here all too well.
Florida is becoming one of the least affordable places in the country. With low supply and high demand, buyers and renters are struggling. One family just moved here, and buying a house was an uphill battle.
It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Michigan native James Halstead moved to Florida after accepting a job offer. But what he didn't expect was how difficult it would be buying a home. He and his wife began looking for houses online. After not having much luck working with several realtors, he made the tough decision to travel back and forth from Michigan, where his family was, to Orlando, where the job was. This lasted for 4 months and took a toll on the whole family, especially his wife.
So she was at home with my 9-year-old and the baby, and it was a lot of work for her to be there and not have my support when I was there.
Then they found their new house, but the rise in interest rates impacted their mortgage payments, and with everyday expenses rising like gas, the budget became an awful lot tighter.
We ended up spending 25% more than we thought our top of the line was, and then with interest rates starting to go up, it even got more expensive effectively.
Halstead isn't alone. This appears to be the trend in Central Florida, causing more residents to seek affordable housing. Orlando Commissioner Regina Hill says she is receiving calls every day from individuals asking to be put on the waiting list.
Not just those that are mentally ill or might have substance abuse issues, but actually families now.
President and CEO of Ability Housing, Shannon Nasworth, says this has to do with labor issues, more residents moving here, inflation, and standstill wages.
We just have wages that haven't kept up with the cost of inflation, and housing costs have escalated far above normal inflation rates.
Some will choose to live further from their workplaces where housing is cheaper, but Nasworth says that may not be the best solution.
That commute cost, makes that housing unaffordable in the end, and that just has its own dynamics.
While finding the dream home is the goal, just closing on a house was a victory in Halstead's uphill battle.
I'm happy we're on this adventure together, and we're down here in Florida enjoying the land of sunshine.
In Longwood, Kennedy Mason, West 2 News.
A new study shows how much minimum wage earners need to work to afford to live in Florida. The report says the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is $1,300. So renters would need to earn $26 an hour. This means minimum wage workers need to have 2.7 full-time jobs working 106 hours a week. To afford a 1-bedroom, you would need 2.2 minimum wage jobs and 86 work hours a week. The state minimum wage right now, $8.65 per hour.
A landmark attraction at a local zoo makes its return after 3 years. West 2's Thomas Olette shows us how this tradition of family fun will get back on track.
Since I moved here, every person that found out I work at this zoo asks me about the train and whether we're going to have a new train.
The answer is yes.
So it is based on a train that was from the Atlantic Coastline Railroad, number 501, and it was called the Champion, and that's why we've called this one the Champion.
So before paying customers can start riding the Champion once again and make brand new memories, some work has to be done.
We still have some more repairs to make to tracks and to the crossing ties. We've got a series of 3 inspections that have to happen and we need to pass beforehand. We want to make sure we've done everything as safely as humanly possible.
3 years ago, the zoo's popular train derailed after coming to a sudden stop and tipping over. While there were no fatal injuries, one individual needed medical treatment. The train was soon after retired, now replaced by this newer model thanks to local business support.
Just a lot of people in this community that have memories and great memories of being able to ride that train while they were here at the zoo.
Glover is excited that people have the chance to make new memories once again. In Sanford, Thomas Olette for West 2 News.
The climate crisis has hit us hard this summer, but the record heat is also pushing sea turtles towards extinction. Recent hotter summers actually caused more turtles to be born female in Florida and Australia. That's because the sand temperature decides the sex of the hatchlings. Now, sea turtle eggs that incubate above 88.8 degrees will be born female. In the past 4 years, biologists at Turtle Hospital in the Florida Keys have seen far less male hatchlings. With fewer male turtles, the population would eventually die off. So researchers have now been relocating eggs to shady areas or climate-controlled labs to keep them nice and cool.
The Burmese python catching challenge continues in the swamps of Florida.
A local Orlando man has a good chance of winning some prize money after wrangling a big catch. You'll hear more about the loot at stake right now and the college student who snagged the giant snake.
And new restrictions are coming to Universal City Walk, keeping minors out on certain nights. The issues that caused this curfew next.